glad to see everybody back on the cast. We're here again after a little bit of a hiatus. With me tonight is Adam, our wonderful co-host.
Hey.
And with us again is David Blanchard, who just had a wonderful article on clones. So, David, how you doing?
Hello. Hey, how's it going?
Doing all right. Yeah, glad to be here. So tonight we want to jump off. We've got a couple of topics here that we're talking about. We're all a little jazzed. Invader League just kind of opened, dropped their list. So we're recording this, kind of right after that happened. So forgive me if I'm a little scatterbrained. But we're going to talk about a demo day that, I ran in Columbus this past weekend. So if you're in the Columbus, Indiana area, and you like Legion, maybe you're even just in the local area, or even if you're just passing through, check out Board Games, B-O-R-E-D Games shop there in Columbus. Pretty awesome place, looking to kind of grow and start a Legion community. So shout out to them just for being so awesome and letting me run kind of a demo day with them and just in general throw some dice and have a great time. After that, that's my little intro for them. We're going to talk about some upcoming tournaments we've got. So there is one this Saturday that I know at least David and I are going to. I think Adam is unfortunately busy.
Unfortunately, I've got a wedding. Yeah. I prioritize the free alcohol and getting over anything else.
Hey.
College kid,
Absolutely. All right. Well, so we're going to talk about that a little bit. We're going to talk about a few other upcoming tournaments for those that like to track the tournament circuit in the area or just in general like to hear about what's going on and what lists are kind of hot. And then we're going to close out with a fun game of who would you be in the Star Wars universe? So stay tuned for that. That'll be fun. All right. So, David, let's start with kind of what are you bringing to Circle City? The Circle City Cup is what we're calling it. I think they labeled it. So for those that don't know, Adam, what is the Circle City Cup? Because I know you know.
So the Circle City Cup is hosted by our friends over at 317th. They're another group out of Indianapolis with us. I believe it's a 32-player tournament. Up on the north side, they're doing a toy drive, I believe it is, what they said it was. So they're doing a toy drive for the local community, which is really nice of them. And then you guys are all going to be there playing 3 rounds of Legion, I believe.
I think it's 3 rounds, and Adam, you'll be there in spirit. I know.
I might be able to stop in for like an hour or two. We'll see.
Hey, that's all that counts. So they're running that. There are still a few spots open if anybody's interested in jumping in. That is this Saturday. I believe registration opens at 10. So if you need that link, it's in our Discord. It's on the Facebook. You should be able to even search it in Tabletop TO while that's still available. So, all right. So Adam, David, what kind of list are you bringing?
So this weekend, I'm wanting to run a Republic list that I've been working on these last few weeks. It's gone through different phases and different forms over probably the last 2 weeks especially. It's originated from Obi-Wan with some Wookiees and Rex. It's an interesting list, but I didn't quite love it. Still had a few weaknesses, especially at 8-acts. So I've been playing with Anakin. I have a 10-act list with him. I had R2 initially, and I really liked him there. But I ended up going with a 3rd Bark Speeder in place of him. I figured with all the bounty and stuff going on, that would be kind of a smarter choice, even though he pressures opponents quite a bit and, ability to score. I felt like it made more sense to have a little bit more firepower, so I went that route instead. So it's Anakin and 3 Barks there. 3 naked phase 1s, and also, and probably I feel like the strength of the list is 2 Battle Shield Wookiees and 1 naked Wookiee. All of them have tenacity, didn't have room to put on offensive push and stuff like I usually do, but I still think it's working out pretty well, and I've been really pleased with it. I've only gotten to play it, 4 or 5 times, I think, And so far, it's done really well. I've really come to love Wookiees. I feel like they are kind of overlooked in the Republic. I think that they're a lot stronger than some people may realize even. And, you know, as far as having just a little bit of melee defense in your list, or maybe in more from an offensive standpoint, I think they do really good. So I really have enjoyed it so far, and I'm really hoping that it's going to prove to be strong for this weekend.
Yeah, that is kind of the scary thing. When you have full 10 activations, you have Anakin building up to be the monster that he is after 3 rounds, and then 3 squads of Wookiees at 10 activations. That's a lot to chew through. Yeah. David and I played a fun test game with that, and he beat the pants off me a little bit. And it got me thinking about my list a little bit. And like David said, just kind of worried about R2 and Bounty and what that was, because I didn't have 3PO on him at the time. So I've changed up my list a little bit. So my list for this Saturday is something crazy. I've only played a couple reps with it, which is very unusual for me. I don't like playing a list unless I have 10 or 15 reps with it. But I am playing a bus with Jin and Sabine, and R2 with 3PO, with 2 strike team Sabs, a full commando squad with Sabs, an FD cannon, and then a bunch of rebels. So it is 11 activations, and I call it Boom Squad because it's just got lots and lots of explosions in it. Lots of booms.
Lots of booms.
So it's been a while since I picked up an FD. So it does take some careful placement. You got to be careful with that because if you lose it early, it can be a little hard. Thankfully, it's 11 activations. So even if you do lose it a little bit too early, you've got some padding there to where maybe you're not behind in the count. So, yep. All right. Well, then let's talk about what we think is going to be, what lists do you guys think are going to be in the top 4? So this is going to be at least a 30-man tournament, I believe is what they have registered right now, out of 32. So what kind of things do you guys expect to show up in the top 4? Is it going to be standard meta things we've been seeing? Is it going to be something from left field? What do you guys think?
I think for sure there's going to be some Shadow Collective, at least one Shadow Collective list, just because I know Pikes are strong. And then at the Circle City, there's a couple, or actually quite a few, kind of bigger names in the community. And I feel like they might be trying a little bit harder than some other people and bringing more meta stuff. I kind of also expecting some Blizzard Force. I think that's going to be another one because Blizzard
that's been really hot lately.
It's had a really good showing between the quad bikes and Vader and everything, and just everything that's in that list style.
I think we're going to see some bounty hunters, maybe double bounty. I think the kind of the villain hammer has been going around quite a bit, where we've been seeing a lot of bounty hunters pop up in Empire. So I think that's going to be up there. I think that we'll probably, hot take, we'll probably see a droid list up there. Call me crazy.
I kind of want to second that because I think this is going to be the first time we actually see a Battle Force droids list, and that has a lot of potential. Just because because being able to take 8 units of core means that you have at least 48 droid bodies on the table.
It's a lot of bodies. Yep.
So, and then you've got them all backed up by an AAT and potentially Dooku or Maul or something, and of course Magnas. So there's a lot of potential there. I think people just have been hesitant to play it because they haven't had the ability to transport it, but because it's more of a local tournament, I think I'm kind of expecting to see it.
Yeah.
I
can see that too. Yeah. So, speaking of Rebels being the new hotness, that's a really good intro there. So we did, get some, news items. Yeah. So today they showed off a little bit of IG-88 and IG-11. So if you haven't seen those spoilers, you can go to the Atomic Mass Games website and look at that release article. But yeah, what are your guys' first impressions of IG-88 and IG-11?
Bounty programming is very, very good.
Juicy, very juicy.
It's very being able to bring double bounty in Rebels now is massive. But then on top of that, for 5 points, you do get AI aim attack, which isn't terrible for him because he's going to be wanting to either aim and shoot generally a lot. But then on top of that, when you choose a bounty target, you are either gaining Pierce 1 on all your weapons if you target a commander, which is going to be very, very common, or suppressive if you target an operative unit. So just that for 5 points on him is really, really big, especially it gives him a lot more potential, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, for those that haven't seen it, the bounty programming is you have to choose a bounty or a programming slot for IG-11. One of them is bounty. The other one that we've previously seen is nanny protocols that allows him to take Grogu. So the bounty gives him the bounty keyword, AI aim attack. If you choose a commander as the target of your bounty, your weapons gain Pierce 1. And if you choose an operative as the target of your bounty, your weapons gain suppressive. So I believe it's his range 3 gun. If you choose commander target, will now get Pierce 2.
Yeah,
so that's, you can either get Pierce 2 or Pierce 1 and suppressive. Both of those are pretty good keywords to have.
And then you're also getting Pierce 1 on your range 4 weapon, which is going to be a bit more consistent. It's got about the same dice pool.
It basically turns him into a better sniper.
Yeah, because he does IG-11 does have Gunslinger on his card, so he's going to be taking that range 4 Pierce 1 shot twice. So actually, I think Up Close and Personal goes really, really well with his 1 pip that was revealed as well. Which, for people that are familiar, what it says is that IG-11 loses Gunslinger for that activation, and the first time that he declares an attack action during his activation, instead of attacking normally, he performs an attack against each enemy unit at range 2, which just so happens to be your up close and personal range. So you can potentially, get him up close, shoot 4 or 5 things, and get 4 or 5 dodges to really make sure that he's going to live while, at range 2 of everything. Because he still is only 5 HP red saves without any other defensive tech.
Yeah, and if he does take a bunch of wounds that turn after you go up and you shoot 4 or 5 things, then you play his 3-pip next, and you just walk him into the middle of things, and you just he's got a self-destruct card that allows him to blow up with a 5-dice bomb attack, which if you take the bounty protocols and you choose a commander, gives him Pierce 1 on that bomb attack. So that blows my mind, and also all my units off the table. I know. It's suppressive, blast, impact 3 reds, 2 black, and then it has the potential to get Pierce 1.
So the other thing to note on that, though, is that your IG-11 is going to need to have 3 or more wounds on him, which means that by the time that he's doing this, he's only going to have 1 or 2 HP.
Yes.
And also it is a 3-pip. So
it's a 3-pip.
There is potential for your opponent to be able to kind of get in his way. But if you're able to get it off, it's going to turn the game 100% of the time.
Agreed. Yeah, it's going to be that niche play that's going to be hard to pull off because your opponent might be able to see it coming, play a 2 or a 1, and just focus fire into IG and try to get him off the table before he blows up. So, or just in general, maybe just engage him in melee before he tries to run into your line and just minimize the amount of damage you want to take.
And then we also saw the 2 cards for IG-88, who I feel like we haven't talked about yet, but I feel like his cards are also going to be really, really good. Because they're 2 permanent cards. On his 1-pip, he's gaining when he performs a attack against a unit that has a target of a bounty keyword. That unit cannot spend tokens. So all of a sudden, you've got this character that's doing what Maul does on Duel of the Fates, which is, denying those tokens. So you can't spend a dodge, you can't spend a surge if you're if you're Vader. And then on top of that, if IG-88 is essentially killed, if he's past his wound threshold, he's not defeated until the end of the round, which can be really big because, being able to get that one last attack in anyway, even though he's about to die, can also change the game.
Absolutely. Yeah, especially if you're playing him in Empire and you've got Palpatine. So, like, if he takes enough wounds to die, you can still pull the strings and make him shoot that turn. And I can also think of this card, stops a unit from spending tokens, which is big. Mauls does that when he's engaged in melee with something. This just says you don't. So if you've got, Luke down to a couple of wounds left and he plays his, 2-pip full of surprises, he can't spend a dodge. He's got all those extra dice, but he can't spend dodges to trigger his deflect. And so there's a lot of hard counters there to force users when they just can't spend their green tokens that they want to spend.
Yeah, and then also with this 2-pip, again, as I mentioned, it's another permanent card, which was each time he gives himself an order, he gets an aim token, and he also gains independent dodge. So when he's not getting orders, he's still getting a dodge, and it's still causing problems. It seems really, really good to just get those out first 2 rounds. And you're going to be able to kind of play a little bit more aggressively with them with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so moving away from the new releases a little bit, we've got a few upcoming tournaments I wanted to talk about just real quick. So one of them is, like we said, this Saturday. There's the Circle City Cup put on by our buddies on the 317th. After that, let me pull up the full list here real quick. The week after that is the Michigan GT, the first week of October up in Lansing. So if you're interested in the Michigan area, feel free to check that out. I hear very good things. I don't know that I'm going to be able to make it this year, but it's been on my radar for a while, so hopefully next year. The week after that is the Sin City Con, the Cincinnati Open, put on by one of our buddies, Andrew Gleason, out of Ohio. So I know that a lot of the Stabcast members are hoping to be there. Some of them are already signed up. I think I'm going. Adam, I think you were planning on going as well.
I'm going to be there, yeah, for sure.
Okay. Well, hopefully there'll be a couple of us there, but we'll see. So that is October 8th and 9th at the Sharonville Hotel, I believe. Yeah. The weekend after that, if you are in Elizabethtown, Kentucky, or near the Louisville, Kentucky area-ish, Hard Knocks Games, which is a wonderful store, can't talk them up enough, has a Legion tournament coming up that day. I think Brian and maybe a couple of our guys are probably gonna try to go to that. We try to go to that store quite a bit, so highly recommend. 5 out of 5 stars. And then the week after that, October 22nd, is the Storm-In and SmackDown. That is our event here in south side of Indianapolis at Game Preserve Greenwood. We have about 20 to 22 players signed up right now currently, but still spots open. Feel free to jump in, ask questions. One of the things we love to do is just make sure that there's enough prize support that even if you show up and you lose all your games, you still have a chance to walk away with some cool loot, have some fun, and just meet some generally awesome people. So feel free to check that out. Hit us up and let us know if you have questions. We have, drumroll, we are at 24 of 32. And I know that they have, TJ over the Game Preserve has got a couple new tables there, so we might even be able to squeeze in more. I'll have to double check with him on that. But we are at 24 of 32 players. So we have a handful of spots. And if we end up filling up and people need to, they're curious about coming, just let me know. We can see if we can squeeze in 1 or 2. And that we usually run through a wait list just because of somebody last minute can't make it, something comes up, and that's totally understandable. Let's jump into a fun game I've been looking forward to this whole podcast. So I'm going to go around the horn. We're going to talk to each of you guys. If you were in the Star Wars universe, doesn't matter if it's, original trilogy, sequel trilogy, prequel trilogy, wherever you want to be, that's great. What occupation would you have, and why?
Whoa.
I know, that's a tough one. It's a fun question.
That's a really good question. Man, I'm gonna have to go with Jedi is kind of like my first love there, of course, because I love the mythology and I love them in general. They're actually the reason I'm playing Republic right now, primarily is just Anakin, Obi-Wan, and hopefully a lot more down the line. But beyond that, realistically, not everyone in that universe is Force sensitive. So if I wasn't, or if I just didn't feel like putting my life at some risk, I would probably go more the route of maybe an explorer of some sort. Like, I think it'd be really cool. And I'm sure they've got a lot of teams out there going out to different planets and stuff. So many universes and galaxies and in the Star Wars world that I'm sure, have yet to even be created. Some fan fiction ones people make or whatever. But if it's an actual, real thing that we could go to, I would definitely love to check out some different planets. And honestly, yeah, I think it'd be, a little scary, but also really exciting at the same time.
Adam, do you have an idea? Do you think you could jump in?
So, me kind of romanticizing the Star Wars universe, I'd be like, oh yeah, I'd totally be a rebel trooper, or like part of the rebellion, or like a clone trooper or whatever. But that doesn't what I think I would actually prefer to do instead of dying and being in war. That part doesn't sound great. I would love if I was one of the designers for like ship and stuff, like one of those engineers, because that's kind of similar to what I'm doing in real life, because I'm still in school and everything, to be a engineer and designing parts and everything. So I think it'd be really, really cool if I could go on if I were put in this theoretical situation to be building like the Corvettes and Montels and Star Destroyers and whatever people pay me to do. Yeah. I mean, if I build for the Empire, I just make them real weak and all that.
Yeah, that's a really cool answer. I didn't even really think about that. From my knowledge of Star Wars, it's like, there's the Corellian ships and there's the Imperial ships and there's different factories that make it. So like being a ship designer would be really cool. Yeah, that'd be interesting. Yeah, and it's funny you guys both mentioned it. Like Star Wars, we don't really think about it as like fans until you actually watch it and you're thinking about like, oh, if I was actually in this universe, like there's a lot of jobs in that universe that aren't safe. Like, yeah, you're like, oh man, like, oh no, I could do that. Oh, that character didn't live very long. Oh, but what about, oh man. Yeah. Because my first thought was like, yeah, like I could be like a cantina, like working my own cantina. And I was like, oh no, that goes south real quick. Yeah. That's kind of one of the things that I was thinking about. It was like looking at like the Old Republic, like the Knights of the Old Republic stuff. And so like they had like a lot of still uncharted worlds. And so they had archaeologists and like explorers who would like travel to different planets to just basically look at the, what is the animal species in this domain? Is there life here? What kind of primitive world is this? Is it an advanced world? And so just kind of in general roam around the galaxy and kind of be more archaeologist explorer types. And I was like, okay, that'd be fun. Almost like a Star Wars version of Indiana Jones, where you're kind of like exploring the universe. That seems like it'd be something that'd be interesting. And, well, I think that's about all I had. Trying to keep it short and quick this week. I know we've got a lot going on, and that's okay. But if you are interested in hitting one of us up, you want to be on the podcast, feel free to just touch base with us. I know we're going to have a lot of people at Saturday's event. We're very excited for it. We're going to post a top 8 article afterwards if we can. And so just really kind of do a great wrap up. Very excited for the 317th to be celebrating this awesome event. Adam, you guys got anything else?
I don't have anything else. I'm just really, really excited for the next month or so of Legion with all the tournaments and Invader League and whatnot. It's going to be a great time. Yeah,
we got a ton of releases, a ton of events. Like it's just, it's looking going to be a really great late fall.
Question. Are the new releases, because didn't and boba are slotted to come out like Thursday before our event, Storm and SmackDown.
Ooh, buddy. Yes.
Are those going to be legal?
Anything that releases October 21st, which hopefully at this point should be Din, Boba, IG-11, IG-88, if those are dropped and available October 21st for our event, the 22nd, I've already talked to Brent, and he and I have decided that those are legal for the event. So feel free to brush up on the rules. We will be brushing up as much as we can on any and all updates. I've been paying very close attention to the way the Invader League is ruling their stuff and how those are all ruled. So there will be some strange interactions. We'll work through it best of our ability. But it's just for the sake of fun and people wanting to bring their new toys. Those will be legal. I try to keep our tournaments pretty lax. Not everybody is a painter. Not everybody cares about the painting hobby as much as others. So we don't have a painting requirement. It can be one color, two color. It can be, plastic gray if you want, as long as it's glued and it's recognizable as what it is. This is totally fine. If you have any questions, feel free to hit us up. Just message us directly, Brent or myself, or hit us up day of, and we can kind of clarify. Well, thanks for jumping in with us, gentlemen. And for all those out there listening, thank you again for jumping in with us. If you're interested in hearing more, you can check out our previous podcast, or you can jump on our Discord and just start chatting with us. You can find that on our website at indianapolisgarrison.com or email us at indianapolisgarrison@gmail.com. Thanks again. Have a wonderful night.